Hi there, this is Aardvark Tax TV. I'm Sean Kennefick, an enrolled agent and customer service representative here at Aardvark Tax. In this video, we're going to talk about IRS registration and enrollment for tax preparers. This video is part of a complete continuing education course available at our website, www.aardvarktax.com. There's been a lot of confusion about IRS requirements for tax preparers because of changes that the IRS made after they were challenged by a lawsuit. In 2010, the IRS announced that it would increase standards for tax return preparers by instituting testing and continuing education requirements. Before that, anyone could prepare taxes for other people as long as they followed the ethical standards as dictated by the Treasury Department in Circular 230. This was regardless of their experience or training, except in California and Oregon, which had their own strict sets of regulations. The 2010 initiative required that all tax return preparers pass a competency exam and also complete 15 hours of continuing education every year. In return for completing these requirements, tax preparers could prepare and sign returns, but were also given limited authority to represent taxpayers before the IRS. Registered tax return preparers, or RTRPs, were allowed to represent clients before revenue agents, customer service representatives, or similar officers and employees of the IRS during an audit if they had signed the original tax return or claimed for refund during the tax period under examination. Exempt from the testing and continuing education requirements were attorneys, certified public accountants, or CPAs, and enrolled agents. I'll come back to what an enrolled agent is in a moment. The IRS put the registration program in place for about a year, and then a lawsuit was filed against it. The taxpayers in the lawsuit suggested that the IRS lacked statutory support for the regulation program. The courts agreed, and the IRS was enjoined from forcing preparers into the registration program until Congress had created a statute enabling them to do so. That still has not yet occurred. However, this decision had no effect on state regulations, so the regulations put in place by California and Oregon are unchanged. Other states are expected to have registration requirements in the future, and New York and Maryland just instituted registration policies themselves. As part of the original IRS registration mandate, all tax preparers were required to obtain a PTIN number before signing returns. That part of the regulation has not changed, and all tax preparers are still required to obtain that PTIN number and refile for it on a yearly basis. Also, as a result of the original mandate, unregistered tax preparers can no longer represent their clients before the IRS, even on returns that they prepared. Since the court decision, the IRS has now implemented a voluntary registration program called the Annual Filing Season Program. Again, this program is completely voluntary. Just as before, anyone, regardless of experience or education, can professionally prepare taxes unless your state regulations forbid it. You don't need to be a part of this program. But this new AFSP program aims to recognize the efforts of non-credentialed return preparers who aspire to a higher level of professionalism. One of the perks associated with the program is the limited ability to represent your clients before the IRS if you signed the original return. Attorneys, CPAs, and enrolled agents continue to be the only tax professionals with unlimited representation rights, meaning they can represent their clients on any matters including audits, payment collection issues, or appeals. Tax preparers without an AFSP record of completion or another professional credential will only be permitted to prepare tax returns. They will not be allowed to represent clients before the IRS. AFSP participants are included in a public database of return preparers which lives on the IRS website, so your clients can look them up and see that you've been credentialed. The introduction of this new program has been met with a lot of confusion. The first aspect that's confusing is that there are people who passed the RTRP exam when it was offered with the understanding that they would be able to permanently secure their ability to represent clients before the IRS. Because of this, the IRS is allowing anyone who passed the original RTRP exam the ability to join the program as long as they complete a requisite number of continuing education hours every year. Additionally, anyone who is part of a state registration program, such as those offered by California and Oregon, are also grandfathered into the program. Anyone who did not take the RTRP exam and is not otherwise registered by a state must take a yearly exam in addition to the continuing education requirements. So, what exactly are those continuing education requirements? Starting in 2015, in preparation for the 2016 tax filing season, AFSP holders must take 12 hours of continuing education plus a 6-hour refresher course and exam. As part of the 12 hours of education, 10 hours must be on federal tax law and 2 must be on ethics. That's a total of 18 hours of continuing education. For those who have taken the RTRP exam when it was offered between November 2011 and January 2013, do not need to take that refresher course. Instead, they take a total of 15 continuing education hours, which includes 10 hours of federal tax law, 2 hours of ethics, and 3 hours of tax updates. A second area of confusion is what the continuing education requirements were in 2014 for the 2015 tax filing season. The IRS mandated that preparers may take a prorated number of hours for that year only. In other words, even though you might have only taken 8 or 11 hours in 2014, that was only for 2014. For all future years, you must take 15 hours of continuing education if you pass the RTRP exam, or 18 hours if you did not. And even a third area of confusion is for people who are part of a state's registration program. There's good news here. If you are part of California or Oregon's program, whatever continuing education program you take in order to fulfill your state's requirements will also fulfill the IRS requirements. You do not need to take a second set of continuing education. So now that you understand the AFSP program, let's talk a bit about the Enrolled Agents program. An enrolled agent is a federally authorized tax practitioner empowered to unlimited representation of taxpayers before the IRS and the United States tax courts. Attorneys and certified public accountants are also empowered by the Department of the Treasury for unlimited representation. This means that enrolled agents, attorneys, and CPAs can represent clients before the IRS even for returns they didn't originally sign. To become an enrolled agent, applicants must obtain a PTIN number and achieve a passing score on all 3 parts of the Special Enrollment Examination, which covers many aspects of the Internal Revenue Code, including regulations related to income, estate, gift, employment, and excise taxes. The IRS also performs a background check on enrolled agents' applicants, including a review of applicants' personal and business tax compliance. Just like all tax preparers, enrolled agents must renew their PTIN between October 16th and December 31st of each year. In order to qualify for renewal as an enrolled agents must complete 72 hours of continuing professional education every 3 years, including 2 hours of ethics or professional conduct in each of those 3 years. To prevent an overloading of CPEs in any year of an enrollment cycle, the IRS also requires a minimum of 16 hours of CPE every year. If an individual has retaken and passed the special enrollment exam since their last renewal, he or she is required to only take 16 hours of CPE, including 2 hours of ethics or professional conduct during the last year of the current enrollment cycle. If your first enrollment period is coming up, you may be allowed to prorate and take fewer continuing education hours, so be sure to check out Circular 230. Every time they renew, enrolled agents must file Form 8554, the application for renewal of enrollment to practice before the Internal Revenue Service. They do it during the applicable renewal period. A renewal period for enrolled agents is based upon the last digit of an enrolled agent's Social Security number or tax ID number. If your Social Security ends in 0, 1, or 2, or 3, you must re-enroll during the renewal period at the end of 2015 for an effective renewal date of April 1st, 2016. For those with Social Security numbers ending in 4, 5, or 6, the renewal period will be in 2016. And for those with Social Security numbers ending in 7, 8, or 9, you won't have to renew again until 2017. This video has been part of a complete tax education course available at www.aardvarktax.com. The course has been approved by the IRS and state governing agencies like California CTEC and Oregon's Board of Tax Preparers. But just viewing the video won't get you credit from your government agency. Be sure to register for this course or any of our other courses by heading to aardvarktax.com website, and then we'll report your successful completion to the government agency of your choice once you've finished the course.